Shachipurutram Atrasurupam Rupam Tasyakata Muripurim Maturim Ushvatim Radha Kundamativanam Ahoradikam Prayojan Pratitapipaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhaya Tadaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Anandalilavaya Grahaya Hema Padyavyachari Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Sampradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Bhakta-vihina aparada-lakshaya Kirtashvikami Manakamali Divamahitam Sharanam Prapana Vinde Namaste Charanarabindam Vinde Namaste Charanarabindam Govinda Namo Dharamadaveti Govinda Namo Dharamadaveti Govinda Namo Dharamadaveti Govinda Namo Dharamadaveti Hey Krishna, Hey Yarava, Hey Saketi Govinda Namo Dharamadaveti Sham Sundar Shikanda Shika Smaha Smurim Manada Radhikas Kamala Kripanyate Supriya Charnaki Karim Kurum Tavaivasvi Tavaivasvi Nadvami Tayamina Iti Vidyaya Devi Kam Namam Charnatikam. First of all, I offer my satsang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers, thousands of times at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmatiya Paravaratma, Guru Pada Dharma, Nityalila Pravish Om Vishnupada, Ashtom Tarasati Sri Rupanugacharya, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, after my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada and to all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, after my pranam to all the Samma Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis,
Shri Prem Prayojan Prabhu ki
Jai!
So today, by the cause of Smasha Sri Guranga Gauranga, we are honoring the Adivastiti of Sri Gaura Purnima. That is the festival beginning from the previous day. So it's quite appropriate to discuss the subject. What are the causes? What are the reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? First of all, the causes for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance in this world. They are divided into two categories. the internal reasons and the external reasons. So here, internal and external is not related to internal energy and external energy. Here it means the reasons for his appearance, which are for himself, and the reasons, that means internal, that means the cause is his own desire. And then the external reason, it's also his desire, but it's for others. So, the internal reasons, they are for himself, and the external reasons, they are for others. But they're also connected to his internal reason. Now, both the internal reason and the external reason, they have two parts: the primary internal reason and the secondary internal reason. And the external is also divided in two parts: primary external reason and secondary external reason. So the primary internal reason, Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kiti Shovane Eva Swainat Bhuta Madhurima Kiti Shovanadya Sokyam Chasya Madhubhavata Kiti Shanveti Lokhat Tadbhavadya Samajani Sachi Garva Sindho Garindu. There were three desires that Sri Krishna did not fulfill in the Nikunja Leela of Vrindavan. Something was left over after performing his pastimes in this world. He wanted to know, what is the greatness of the Prem of Radhika? It's beyond my comprehension. He wanted to know, what is the sweetness in me that only Radhika sees through her eyes, which are filled with love, because the beauty of Krishna is experienced in proportion to the degree of one's love. Kamsa Maharaj also saw Krishna, but he did not see his beauty. That beauty, Naham Prakasha Sarvasha Yogamaya Samadrita. Krishna said, my form is not revealed to everyone, even those who were seeing him. If someone didn't have devotion during his Leela, actually they did not see directly the spiritual swarup of Krishna, but just as a snake can shed its skin, and the skin is external to itself. So in the same way, Sarpavat Maya Rachita Tanur Abbas. That means those who don't have devotion, when Krishna appears in this world, they see him, no, they see an Abbas, Tanur Abbas, an Abbas of his body, which is Maya Rachita, made by Maya, exactly like a Sarpa Kanchukavat, like the outer skin of a snake. But those who have bhakti, they see that he's beautiful. The cowherd boys see that Krishna is beautiful. Mother Yashoda has more love. She sees Krishna as being more beautiful, and the gopis have more love. They see him even more beautiful. And of all the gopis, Radhika has the highest love. So only she, E Prema Dwari Nitya Radhika Ekale Amara Madhuryamrita Ashule Shakale, only Radhika through her prem can taste the nectar of my sweetness fully. Even Krishna himself, because he does not have Radhika's mood. If he looks in the mirror, he cannot see the same beauty that Radhika sees. So he wanted to know, what is that? What does she see? That was his second greed. And the third one, we'll discuss this in more detail tomorrow, we're just giving an outline. The third one, what happiness does Radharani experience when she relishes the sweetness of Sri Krishna? So these things, they were unfulfilled, and Krishna was very greedy to realize them, and therefore Radhabhava Juti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Surupam, to satisfy his own curiosity, accepting the golden complexion and the sentiments of Srimati Radharani, Sri Krishna appeared just as the moon appears from the ocean. Actually, the moon doesn't appear from the ocean. The moon already exists, but you see it's rising from the ocean, it seems. So in the same way, the eternal form of Gauranga, which was always in his Nitya Navadvip, appeared Then Krishna appeared from the womb of Shachi with his Radhika's golden complexion and her sentiments. So this is the primary internal reason. The secondary internal reason was the call of Advaita Acharya. Because Advaita Acharya has so much praying for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has so much praying for Sri Krishna that when Advaita Acharya was crying and calling him, then he could not ignore him. So that's also considered internal reason. Because for himself, he could not ignore or give up the request, the call of his devotee. So that's also an internal reason. Krishna feels so indebted to those who have love for him that he's uneasy if he doesn't reciprocate with them. So then, now we come to the external reason. The secondary external reason is to spread the Yuga Dharma. Because in every Yuga, an avatar of Vishnu comes to this world and spreads whatever is the Dharma for that Yuga. So in Kali Yuga, the Dharma is Harinam Sankirtan. But when Sri Krishna, he was feeling the greed to appear to fulfill these three desires, it coincided with the time of the appearance of a Vishnu avatar. So when the Supreme Lord appears, all the Vishnu Tattvas, all the various avatars, they enter into his body. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he established the Yuga Dharma. But because it was not only Vishnu within him establishing the Yuga Dharma, there is a primary external reason. And that is that though he spreads the Yuga Dharma, he destroys the influence of irreligion, he causes everyone to chant the holy name and become liberated. But within that, very fortunate persons, they may receive Raga Marg, the path of Raga Bhakti. So, Prem Rasa Nirjas Korite Ashodhan, Raga Marga Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharan. These are the two causes for Krishna's appearance also. Prema Rasa Nirjas Korite Ashwadan. Krishna appears to taste the essence of Prema Ras. That means, what is it like to be the object of Radhika's love? And in Gaura-lila, it appears to taste the essence of Prema Ras. What is it like to be the ashray, the shelter of that love of Radhika for himself? And the second aspect, Raga Marga Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharan. Krishna appears also to spread Raga Marg. How? Brajera Nimalarag Shuni Bhaktigan. When Krishna performs his Vrindavan Leela here, after that all the great saints will glorify that Leela. And those who hear his Vrindavan Leela, greed will come to them and they'll enter into Raga Marg. Those persons were very rare. But Sri Krishna now appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Raga Marga Bhakti Loke Krite Pracharama. Through the Yuga Dharma of chanting the holy name, when the devotees become more qualified and their ruchi begins to appear, if they're under the guidance of Vaishnavas who themselves are realized in Braja Rasa, then from Vaidhi Bhakti, Vidhi Maga Rata Jani, Swarinakta Ratnagani, Raga Marga Karna Pravesh. Those who follow Vaidhi Bhakti strictly, all the rules and regulations of devotional service, under the guidance of Raganuga Bhaktas, after some time, their inspiration to serve is no longer under the control of buddhi, their intelligence. They don't have to think and calculate, I have to chant because I'm in this material world. And Krishna's God and his part and parcel, so it's my duty, so I have to do it. Hare Krishna. Their practice is no longer inspired by duty, by vidhi, by intelligence, by shastric injunction. Because by the association of pure Vaishnavas and by chanting Chaito Darpana Marjanam, the Spatika Mani, the crystal of the heart, has become clarified. And so when they hear the sweet pastimes of Vrindavan, now the moonbeams of the raga of the associates of Radha and Krishna begin to reflect in the heart of that devotee, and his heart becomes ulasit, shining and full of joy. And now he engages in bhakti out of that spontaneous joy. So Raga Maga, Vidi Maga Rata Jani, those persons who are following Vaidhi Marg, Swadhinata Ratna Dani, when their consciousness becomes the independent of the material intelligence, Raga Maga Karna Paresh, then we enter into Radha Nuga Bhakti. So this is actually the Kripaika Labhya. One enters into Raganuga Bhakti not by the power of his own effort, it's by mercy. This is why in the line of Vallabhacharya, Raganuga Bhakti, Vaidhi Bhakti is called Maryada Marg, and Raganuga Bhakti is called Pushti Marg. Pushti means nourishment. Just like a child, a baby is born, they cannot feed themselves. Then nourishment comes by the pushti, the nourishment and the mercy of the mother. So in the same way, we cannot, but we have no qualification by ourselves to enter into Ragamaya. But if we are nourished by the sweet Harikatha of a Brajrasik Vaishnava, and our heart has been sufficiently cleansed by chanting the holy name, then by mercy, that greed will appear, and we can enter into Ragamaya. So, quickly we'll go through them. There are internal reasons and external reasons. The primary internal reason is primary internal reason. Yes.
To understand the glory of Srimati Radharani's love, the special qualities within him that she embellishes, and the bliss she feels when she experiences the sweetness of his love.
Perfect. Secondary internal reason. Yes. Very good. Then the secondary external reason. Yuga Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan. Then primary external reason. Ragamarga Bhakti. And especially within that Ragamarga Bhakti, Unnat Ujjvala Rasam Svabhakti Sriyam Anarpika Charim Anarpika Chari Bhakti. That devotion that was never given before, that means Radha Dasyam, the service of Srimati Radhika, following Rupa Manjari and her group. So, now, today and tomorrow, we'll begin to go through each one of the reasons in greater detail. So we want to start with the secondary external, and that is the Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma is the chanting of the holy names. Madhuram Madhuram Etan Mangalam Mangalanam Sakamanigavali Satpalam Chit Surupam Sakataparigitam Sadhya Hilayava Brikavanarmatam Taryat Krishnanama. In Skanda Purana, Srila Vyasadeva, he said, Madhuram Madhuram, this holy name of Krishna is the sweetest of the sweet. There is nothing sweeter than this. Because this name is Krishna himself, who is himself the embodiment of sweetness. Madhuradipate Akhilam Madhuram, he is the emperor of all sweetness. So, that Krishna Nam is very sweet. It is the fruit on the desire tree of the Vedic literatures. If anyone will chant this name, with faith or even without faith, Swadaya Hilayava, Parigita. Here Parigita means they sing it even not very distinctly or with proper pronunciation. But what will happen? Brikavarnarmatam Taryat Krishnanama. They must be delivered. They'll be liberated from this world. So the actual primary fruit of chanting the holy name is not liberation, it's Krishna praying. But if someone will just tangentially touch the name in the form of Namabhas, it will destroy all their sins and give liberation. So, but if a person wants to actually attain the real gift of the holy name, then he will have to surrender. Because there are many persons chanting, but they're not experiencing the sweetness. You know? Just like Bakasur, he attacked Krishna in Kadeva, and he swallowed Krishna. And though Krishna was in his mouth, but he did not taste the sweetness of Krishna. It felt like fire, he was burning. He coughed and Krishna came out again. Oh, that's why the village there in Kadeva is called Kayore. Because all the cowboys were saying, Kayore, Kayore! Bakasura has eaten him. And then when he coughed, Krishna came out, and then Krishna bifurcated the beaks of Bakasura. And then the boy said, Kayore, Kayore, Krishna's eaten him. That means, beaten. So, Bakasura, he could not taste the sweetness of Krishna. Why? Because of avidya. Sat Krishna nama charitari sitapya vidya pito patasya rasanasya narojkaru kintvara anudinam kalusaiva justa swadi kramata bhavati tadgara mula hantri. Rupa Goswami Prabhupada said, the main form, qualities and pastimes of Krishna are so sweet, but when a person has the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, they cannot taste that sweetness. So then what should you do? Oh, I don't like the chanting so much. No. Anyway, just as a person who has jaundice has to take the remedy, which is a sugar candy, and that sugar candy tastes to him bitter. So in the same way, though it may be bitter in the beginning, it may be difficult in the beginning, but every day one should sit patiently and try to chant and hear the name of Krishna. Gradually, one will win the favor of the holy name. And the holy name will destroy one's avidya, and the degree to which the avidya is being removed, to that degree the intense sweetness of the holy name will awaken in one's consciousness. So, bhakti, sravanam, kirtanam, smaranam, they don't begin without surrender. Surrender is the doorway to bhakti. In bhakti from the beginning, adosradha, sadhusanga, bhajana, kriya, anatamivati, nishta. This is actually not bhakti tattva but sraddha tattva. It is the development of faith, from soft faith to firm faith. And so one is surrendering, the faith becomes firm, and then ruchi. He enters in and begins to experience the actual swarup of the true divine transcendental nature of pure bhakti. That it's not a karma, it's not something which is performed by our senses. So we begin the activity from the sensory platform, but pure bhakti descends and begins to manifest upon our senses by the causeless mercy of Sri Krishna. So, surrender is the doorway to bhakti. If a person, they engage in hearing, chanting, and remembering, but they're sotantra, they're independent from the guidance of Sri Guru. They're not surrendered, having the 6 symptoms of surrender in their life. Then their hearing, chanting, and remembering is not bhakti. It's some type of abhas. It is like acting, like a drama. Someone playing a devotee on the stage, but not actually a devotee. So that is the prakrita bhakta. He is the devotee, but on a prakrita, materialistic level. So it's most important to deliberate. What does it mean, surrender? What does surrender mean? What does it entail? Srila Jiva Goswami Pad, he said that there are 2 types of Atma-nivedana we can discuss. You know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared in Navadvip Mayapur, and that's central island of it's called Antadvip, and that is the island of Atma-nivedana, the island of complete self-surrender. So Atma-nivedana is of 2 types. First, Deha Arpana. So Deha Arpana, Atma-nivedana. Deha Arpana, that means offering the body. Offering one's body and senses to the Supreme Lord. So this has been compared to Vikrita Pashu. Vikrita Pashu means a sold animal. Let's say a man owns a cow. So this cow belongs to him, and he has the right to the milk from the cow and all the products that can come from the milk. But if he goes to the marketplace and he sells that cow, now that cow belongs to someone else, not to him anymore, and all the functions of the cow and the benefits that the cow gives, they belong to the other person. So in the same way, a person who considers bheda-abheda-tattva, I am surrendering my body completely to the Supreme Lord. Now he thinks, oh, this body no longer belongs to me, and I am not the beneficiary of any of the activities of this body. All the senses, all my time, all my energy, everything is only to please Sri Krishna, and everything belongs to him. I should not engage in any activity for which the fruit is for my personal advantage, personal material advantage. That is, of course, there's a great advantage to surrendering to Krishna for the soul. So, this is called bheda-abheda-tattva, surrendering by body. Now, the other type of atma-nivedana is called atma-arpana-tattva, surrendering the self. And what it means is that I am Ketragya. Ketragya means the knower of the field. And this body and mind, which are the mature energy, they're the Ketra, they're the field. So Krishna speaks about this in Bhagavad Gita. There are two things, Ketra and Ketragya. The body and mind are the field. Just like a man standing in the field can look around and see what's there. So similarly, the Atma is Ketragya, the knower of the field. And the Atma can look and see the movements of the mind and the movements of the body. So when the devotee prays, he may himself be doing some ordinary activity, some everyday karma, but he prays to the Supreme Lord that I am Ketragya, the knower of the field, I am the Sakshi, the witness of the gross and subtle material energy, the body-mind complex. And myself, the Sakshi, the witness, I am surrendering that to you, my Lord. So outwardly he may be behaving like an ordinary person, but in his heart he has given himself, the Ketragya, and surrendered at the feet of the Supreme Lord. So these are two types of atma-nivedana, two types of surrender. Which one should we do? Both. Yes. So Srila Jiva Goswami gives the conclusion that these are both atma-nivedana, but complete atma-nivedana is when we do both. So consider this. Consider it very carefully. Because if you are just doing some service and trying to surrender with your body, but maintaining the kartritva abhiman, I am the agent, I am the doer of these activities. In other words, the identity, your self-conception is blended in with your mental functions. Understand? In other words, you're seeing the world from the vantage point of your mind. But in actual surrender, you understand I am the soul, and you look at your mind from the vantage point of the soul. So that is the symptom of actual surrender. And so this will come in the stage of Nishtha. Because in Nishtha, when the chitta becomes steady, then this sakshitva develops. So Srila Sanatana Goswami has explained in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the pure bhakti does not begin until we attain that inner sanctity and the state of sakshitva. Witnesshood, being situated above the mental vrittis, the turbulence of the mind. When the mind becomes peaceful, then naturally that distinction arises. So the sattvic mind is quite peaceful, and automatically one intuitively experiences that separation from the mental functions, that I am the witness of the mental functions. And that's called jnana. That's called jnana. Jnana means deya, atma, the discrimination, vivek, deyatma vivek, the discrimination between the body and the self. That includes the discrimination between the mind and the self as well. So in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna said, Sattvat sanjayate jnanam. From the mode of goodness comes knowledge. In other words, when the mind becomes steady, one intuitively experiences that separateness from the mental functions. Understand? So he said, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janiyati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayana Huitukam. For one who renders devotional service to Vasudeva, to Sri Krishna, then automatically this jnana, And therefore also detachment from the world, because one realizes I have got this body and mind. Vairagya, they appear. So this is a test. Am I actually rendering pure devotion or not? If we are engaged in pure devotion, then this jnana, this discrimination, this sakshitva, this being situated in the abhimana of the ketra, the knower of the field, it should be natural. And from that point, then real bhakti begins. Before that, one's activities are all in a blur, they are mixed up with karma, jnana, yoga, and so on. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Ashoka abhaya amrita adara thomar charana dvaya tahate ekon vishamalabhya chadilu bhavera boya. Oh my Lord, since I did Atmanivedana, I surrender to you. I've become joyful, completely happy. All my sufferings and miseries have gone far away. My anxieties are far away. And I see joy in all four directions. My Lord, your lotus feet are the reservoir, Ashoka Abhaya Amrita. The reservoir of being free from lamentation, Ashok, Abhaya, fearlessness, and Amrita, and nectar. And as I'm engaged in your service, now I have attained complete Vishram, complete rest. I am completely at rest, and I no longer have any fear of material existence. I don't experience that I'm living in a hostile environment where everything is out to get me, and the world is full of danger. No, I am living within you. I am within you, and you are within me and within everything else. So there's no danger anywhere. So this is the joyful state, one who is actually surrendered. Vishramalabhya. So now I've attained rest. Vishram, rest. There's one Braj Bhatt poem. One poet, he writes, what is that? Oh yeah. Dampati sampati sinchi hiyai. Sukha soho pava pasari. Sukha soho pava pasari. Oh. If my heart will become infused with the treasure, Dampati Sampati, of the divine couple Radha and Krishna, then Sukha Soho, very happily I will sleep, Pava Pasari, stretching out my feet. I'll stretch my feet out, put my feet up, and I'll sleep happily. So some persons, they take this poem to be literal. Oh, now Radha, we have the mercy of Srimati Radhika, so I'm just going to lie around and be lazy. But that's not the meaning. That's not the meaning of the poetry. Because we see that those who are serious sadhakas, then, like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was saying, Vishramalabhya, now I'm completely at rest. Then why did he wake up every day at 1 o'clock in the morning and chant 64 rounds? And then he wrote over 100 books. And then he was going to work, and then he would at night in the evening coming back and taking Srimad Bhagavatam under his arm and Chaitanya Charitamrita Bhakti Samhita Sindhu. Then he would go preaching every evening. He was working so hard. It's difficult for us to imagine. But he's saying, Vishramalabhya, I've attained complete rest now. So in the sense, what it means is that when we enter into pure bhakti, when one is actually surrendered, then he doesn't give up sadhana. He gives up the sadhana buddhi, the idea that I'm doing everything. Ahankara vimudatma kakramiti manyate. Out of false ego, a person thinks I am doing everything. So the devotee, he gets complete rest. That means he's completely at peace. His mind is at peace. His heart is at peace. And he's in the situated as a witness. But outwardly his body is serving all the time. But he knows that every service that I am doing, I am not doing. This is a kripa. This is only mercy. The opportunity to serve is mercy. The capability to serve. The possibility to serve. Everything is coming by mercy. So he feels like he's in an ocean of bliss, mercy everywhere. See, this has been described very beautifully by Sri Kapil Dev to Devahuti. He said, Yenedra Shim Kati Masoda Salasya Isa. Sangrahita puradayena bhavadrashena swainaiva tusyutu kritena sadhina nata konama tat prativinanjali astakuryat. This is a very important verse. You can note it down and keep it in your heart. It's actually the prayer of the unborn child in the womb of the mother. You know, there's a description of conception and then how the embryo develops in the womb. And so, Sri Kapil Dev describes how the pious person, the person actually not mature piety, who's practiced devotional service in a previous life, then when he's in the womb of the mother, by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, he may remember that, oh, I am a devotee, but I did not finish the course. And now, again, I am in the womb of a mother. And so that's very fortunate child who's receiving the mercy of Bhagavan, even in the womb, in the form of the Jati Smara, being able to remember the previous birth. Then he's praying this verse. He said that, oh, my Lord, you are so kind to me. Even though now I am in the womb, I'm just entering into the 10th month. So it's the end of the pregnancy. It's a little bit overdue. I'm just entering into the 10th month now. But, oh my Lord, you are so kind to me. Because usually when a soul is in the womb, they're in complete ignorance. Don't think that everyone who's in the womb remembers God and they pray and then when they come out they forget. Srila Jiva Goswami Pad describes that when Kapil Dev is giving this description, how the child is in the womb and remembering God, and then when they're born, then they forget. Actually, these are two separate children. The first one was a devotee who was remembering, and then the one who came out and is completely bewildered, that's not the devotee. It's another one. But he just sewed together two accounts into one narrative. So that person who in the previous life he did devotional service and he'd come up to Rati. Then when he's in the womb, the Supreme Lord gives him the memory of that. And he said, oh my Lord, I am completely helpless. So I am praying to you that you kindly be satisfied with the devotional service that you yourself make me do. In the form of my Anjali. Right, Anjali? In the form of my Anjali. That means that if you go to the temple and you stand before the Supreme Lord and you fold your hands like this, you do Anjali, Vandana, to pray like this, then this is one anger of devotional service. But the child in the womb is completely helpless. They can't do anything, but the Lord is so kind that He puts you in the womb in this posture, with folded hands and head bowed down. He Himself does it. And so that soul, that devotee is praying, my Lord, you yourself have put me in this position, and I pray that you'll be satisfied with this devotion that I am doing, that actually you make me do. In fact, it's just everything is your mercy. So, this mood, those who are in pure bhakti, they don't only have that mood in the womb, they have that mood when they come out of the womb as well. So we should think that when we have sadhu sangha, it was Krishna's mercy. When the Harikatha is entering into our ears, it's not any credit of our own. It's all coming by Krishna's mercy. I am completely helpless. Ainanda Tanu Jakinkaram. O son of Nanda Maharaj, I am in this mature ocean of existence, I am completely helpless. But you are making the opportunity, the capability, and the possibility that I can engage in bhakti. We should not take the japamala like a person grabbing the reins of a horse, thinking I'm in control. No, the mala is coming to me. And now the name is coming to me. How wonderful, how kind Krishna is. He Himself is coming in the form of His name. As long as we have the Abhiman, then we'll think, I am producing this name. And if your material tongue is producing the name, that's not the name. Because the name is Krishna, it can be produced by a material tongue. So this switch, this movement of perspective has to take there. And that is Sharanagati, that is surrender. So when a person actually surrenders in this way and feels like a helpless child in the womb at every moment and considers all opportunities and possibilities and capability of service to be just pure mercy of Krishna coming to him, then when he chants Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, then his hair will stand on end, tears will come to the eyes, heart will begin to melt. So this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give, Harinam Sankirtan, not Namaprad. He didn't come to distribute the Yugadam of Namaprad. He came to distribute the Yugadam of Shuddhanam, the pure name. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori Swaparshada Suyadama Saha Avatari Atyanta Dulava Prema Kori Varidan Shikaya Shanagati Bhakate Pran. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful. He came to this world but not alone. He came with his Dham and he came with his associates out of mercy. And he came to give a love that was rarely attained even by great demigods like Lord Brahma. And how did he do it? Shikaya Sharanagati Bhakate Pran. By teaching the path of Sharanagati, the path of surrender. Because this surrender is Bhakate Pran, the Pran of Bhakti. If a body has no Pran, it's a dead body. It's only alive if the Pran is there. So in the same way, the practices of hearing, chanting and remembering, they're all dead, they're all dry and they're tasteless. Unless Sharanagati is there, then it's Pran and everything comes alive. Everything is full of nectar. So, this full Atma-nivedan is also of two types, Bhava-bhina and Bhav-vishisht. Bhava-bhina means surrender, but without a particular mood of a sambandha, a particular relationship with Krishna. Just, I am a soul, Krishna, I surrender to you. But then there is Bhav-vishisht. That means surrendering with a particular type of sambandha jnana. Such as, oh Krishna, you are my friend. Krishna, you are my Lala, you are my child. Oh Krishna, you are my Pranavalabh, you are my sweetheart. Jiva Goswami gives the example of Rukmini when she wrote a letter and sent it through a Brahmin. Said, oh Krishna, now they're trying to marry me to this Shishupal. But why should the prize that belongs to the lion be taken by a jackal? Like him. I can have no relation with him because he's just a dead body. What beauty is there? Is it really the object of service, which is just the blood, pus, stool, and urine and fat, all wrapped up in a bag of skin and decorated with fingernails and a moustache? This is not the object of love. You are the object of love. You are Satchidananda Vigraha, the eternal, supreme truth. Always young. Oh yes, the other day we were singing about how Madhavendra Puri, he discovered Srinathji. And I began to sing one bhajan, but then I forgot to explain it to him. Govardhan Vasi Savalila Tuma Bina Dayo Najai Brajaraja Garete Savalila Tuma Bina Dayo Najai Bankachite Musakana Kila Mohana Bansi Vihai Lochana Tarafe Mina Sola Palachina Kalpa Vihai Govardhana Vasi Sarvadila Tumabina Rayo Najai. From Vallabh Sampradaya, not our Sampradaya, but anyway, we love them. They took over the service of Srinathji. At the time of, actually Raghunath Das Goswami gave the service to Gosain, the Vittalacharya, the son of Vallabhacharya, and then from that time they took over the service of Srinathji Gopal. Anyway, in this song, it's so beautiful. It says, hey, Govardhan Vasi, Savarela, you very shining and sweet young son of Nanda Maharaj. You are staying at Govardhan forever. I cannot live without you. That means that we're all being born and dying. You know, since Gopal appeared there at Govardhan and was established by Madhavendra Puri, how many persons have been born and served him and then grew old and then died? And then another generation came and they also became old and they died. And again for centuries and centuries, and now we're also growing old and dying. But Savarela, that young boy, is still standing there on the top of Govardhan Hill, and he's completely fresh and young. He's still a teenager. And he's there, he's smiling, he's playing. He's glancing very lovingly. Have you seen the eyes of Srinathji? Very long. And like this. He's dancing and he's smiling. And he plays upon the flute. And when the devotees, they have his darshan, then Lochana Kalafe Mina Solao, then they become like, if you take a fish out of water, then how are they? Completely restless. They cannot live, they become desperate. They're on the verge of giving up their life, and then they give up their life. But in the same way, if someone sees for a moment the beauty of Krishna, after that, they're in a state of complete disturbance. Ha Krishna, Kamur Prananato Murali Pandan. Where is Krishna, my Prananath, who plays upon the flute? Oh, son of Nanda Maharaj, where are you? Meena Sula Palachina Kalpa Bihar. And then, even looking at him, and eyelids blink. And when the eyelid closes, just for a split second, then that 1 second feels like a kalpa of separation. So this is the example. Bhava Vishisht. Surrender to Krishna, but in a mood. Whose mood is this? Gopis of Vrindavan. So surrender can be with a mood or without a mood. Only those who are in the shelter of a Brajasic Guru, when they receive Gopal Mantra, they receive Diksha. Then, through this mantra, Gurudev awakens our Sambandha Gyan. If we chant the holy name without understanding our relation with Sri Krishna, then it can be Nam Abhas. But when the holy name of Krishna is chanted with Sambandha Gyan, then it is Shuddhanam, the pure name. It becomes Rupa Yuktanam, Guna Yuktanam, Parikar Yuktanam, Lila Yuktanam, Rasta Yuktanam. Sarva Rasa Siktanam, Srila Bhaktivinoda is explaining all these things we discussed on the first day in regard to the Namahat. What are the commodities for sale in the marketplace of the holy name? So, Mahaprabhu has appeared in the world. The external reason is to establish the Yuga Dhamma, to spread Harinam Sankirtan. But it should be the Harinam of Shuddhanam, not Nam Aparad. So first of all, complete surrender. De Arpana Atmanivedan, Atmarpana Atmanivedan. Like the helpless child in the womb, and then Bhav Vishisht, with a mood as well. And then the other aspects of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission will become available to us. So, in regard to Mahaprabhu appearing and delivering the whole world, we're still on the secondary externalism. Then, there are some very beautiful pastimes. Once, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, and many devotees, his associates from Navadvip and other places in Bengal, they used to come and spend the whole 4 months of Chaturmasya with him. But then at the end of the 4 months, it was time for them to return to their homes. So this is always, every year, this was a very pathetic scene, because no one wants to leave Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu, also he cannot bear to give up his devotees. So at that time, they would come to visit him. And Mahaprabhu would glorify his devotees. And he was so enthusiastically glorifying the Murari Gupta, Advaita Acharya and others. It was as if he had 5 mouths all speaking at once. He was in such ecstasy. So after glorifying various devotees, he began to speak about the glories of Vasudeva Datta. So when Vasudeva Datta heard Mahaprabhu glorifying him, then how did he feel? Lajjante duritut brahmar api nijasto pranavandarapi. When a pure Vaishnava is glorified by someone, he feels like some sinful activities are being revealed. Though he has no sinful activities, but he feels ashamed like that. So Vasudeva Datta was feeling ashamed, and he began to weep, and he fell at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he said, "Oh Mahaprabhu, I have one request of you. Oh Mahaprabhu, you are the Supreme Lord, you can do whatever you like. So if you desire, you can very easily fulfill my requests. My request is this." Vasudeva Datta said, "My heart breaks seeing the sufferings of all the living entities in this world. So I am requesting you, please, take away all their karmas, all their suffering, and give it to me, and let them be liberated." So when Mahaprabhu heard this request of Vasudeva Datta, then tears began to flow from the eyes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he replied to him, his voice was choking, he couldn't even speak clearly due to emotion. Mahaprabhu said, "Such a request is not surprising from you, because, O Vasudeva Datta, you are the incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj." Prahlad Maharaj had already also requested this. Mahaprabhu said, whatever a pure devotee wants from his master, Krishna, without any doubt, he fulfills that. Because Krishna has no other duty than to fulfill the desires of his devotee. In the Padma Purana it is said that Mad Bhaktanam Vinodatam Karomi Vividah Kriya. I perform many pastimes, but why? For the happiness of my devotees. So this is Krishna's full-time occupation, just fulfilling the desires of his devotees. So Mahaprabhu said, if you desire the deliverance of every living entity in the whole universe, then they can all be delivered without you having to undergo their sinful reactions. Because, see, Krishna, you are his devotee. He will not allow you to suffer, but he has all potencies, and whatever you want, he'll make it come true. So then, Mahaprabhu said a very beautiful verse. Tumi yara hita vansha se hola Vaishnav Vaishnavera Papa Krishna Duri Karisa. Tumi yara hita vansha. That means whomever's benefit you desire. Hit means kalyan, auspiciousness and benefit. So tumi yara hita vansha. That person for whom you desire benefits, say hello Vaishnav. He'll become a Vaishnava. Just consider it. If we can have a relationship with a pure devotee, we serve them, and that pure devotee just thinks in his mind for a moment, oh, may you be blessed. They just want our benefit. Now Mahaprabhu is saying, if a Vaishnava just desires the benefit of a living being, then that living being he turns into a Vaishnava. His whole life will be changed. He will have such opportunities that he'll become himself a transcendental Vaishnava. And Vaishnava Papa Krishna Duri Karisa. That Krishna, he takes away all the sins of a Vaishnava. So essentially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, you don't have to suffer for their sins. Why? Because you desire their benefit. And only because you desire their benefit, they will all become Vaishnavas. So, this is such an amazing situation, because about whom was Vasudeva Datta thinking? Everybody in the universe. Everybody. Everyone. without exception. So Mahaprabhu said, just as there's a tree called Udumbara tree, and on the Udumbara tree there are millions of small fruits. So if one small fruit will fall from the Udumbara tree, what loss is it to that tree? Nothing. So in the same way, there are millions and millions of universes. They're just like fruits on the Udumbara tree. So if one whole universe just gets delivered, then what is it to Krishna? It's nothing for Krishna. Krishna can do that without any effort whatsoever, and it's no loss to him. Otherwise, Mahaprabhu gave another example. He said that, let's say there's a clay pot, and the clay pot is full of mustard seeds. How many mustard seeds can you put in a clay pot? They're tiny. You get a big clay pot from India, fill it full of mustard seeds. So, if one mustard seed will fall from the clay pot, then what is that? It's insignificant. So, in the same way, all the material universes are as if floating in a clay pot in the causal ocean. Just like mustard seeds in a clay pot could float in the ocean, in the same way, all the material universes are just floating in one portion of the causal ocean. And if one of them will come out, then this is nothing. Then Mahaprabhu said, what to say of one universe, even if all the material universes are destroyed and everyone is liberated, then Krishna does not consider this any loss whatsoever. So then, Mahaprabhu, he said that if a person has millions of karmadenu, wish-fulfilling cows, then if he loses one ordinary she-goat, then what loss is it to him? This is interesting because in the Loka Vrindavan, Surabhira Vipalayantam, Krishna has millions of cows, wish-fulfilling cows that can fulfill all desires. And the material energy is also known as Aja, which also means goat. So in the Upanishads, the material energy is considered to be, this word is used, Aja, for goat. So then Mahaprabhu, he quoted a prayer that was prayed by the Vedas personified. When Lord Narayan, the mules Mahasankashan, from whom the Karnataka Vishnu comes, when he's resting, the Vedas personified pray to him and say engage in creation, and then he manifests the creation of the world. So when the Vedas personified, that is the Supreme Lord in Vaikuntha, he doesn't have an alarm clock to wake him up. But the Vedas personified come and they wake him up to the sound of his own glories. And they pray, Jaya 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 Jam Ajita Dosha Gribhita Gunam Tvamasiya Ratmana Samaviruda Samasta Bagaha Jagadaga Yokasam Akila Shakta Vabodakate Kwachida Jayatmana Nuchayacho Nuchayin Nigamaha. It means, oh my Lord, Jai, Jai, glories to you, all glories to you. Please, wake up and manifest your energies. You have your internal energy and you have your external energy. In your external energy, there is a guna dosh, the fault of the gunas. In other words, the living beings there are filled with faults by the influence of the gunas. So, oh my Lord, wake up, manifest your material universes, and manifest your internal potency also. And then through your internal potency, make it appear within the material universe, and remove all the faults of the living entities, and so that they will be liberated and attain their eternal life. So, what does it mean? It means that this whole universe is manifested by the Supreme Lord, and it's expressed there in the prayers of the Vedas for the express and specific purpose that everyone will be liberated. Sometimes people can get depressed, it's all so bad, and there's so much suffering and everything. But this is the reality. With the long vision, with the transcendental vision, this is one type of ecstatic pastime, where in the midst of all sufferings of the living entities who are helpless, the Supreme Lord has his pastime of delivering everyone. So, In this way, Mahaprabhu, he was glorifying Vasudeva Datta and saying, because of your desire, then all the living entities will be liberated. And they were liberated, and then they were replaced, and that's us, we're the next batch. So don't Vasudeva Datta didn't remember you. You think, oh, everything's okay because... No, that batch is gone, we're the new batch. But don't worry, there's a plan for everyone. So, there's another very beautiful pastime about how by the appearance of Mahaprabhu and the spreading of the Yuga Dharma of Harinam Sankirtan, everyone is delivered. So one day, it was towards the end of his pastimes in this world, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he used to go and meet with Sri Haridas Thakur at Siddhapur. Haridas Thakur, he could not go, he was from a Muslim family, so he was not allowed to go and have the darshan of Lord Jagannath in the Jagannath temple. But Lord Jagannath himself, in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, used to go and see him every day. So one day, Mahaprabhu came to Sri Haridas Thakur, he said, "Oh Thakur Haridas, in this age of Kali, most of the people are completely bereft of Vedic Dharma. There are so many Yavanas, those who are outside of the Vedic culture, and they're only interested in killing cows and brahmanas and engaging in all types of sinful acts. How will these Yavanas be delivered? I am very unhappy about this, and I don't see a way how they'll be delivered." Srila Haridas Thakur said, "My dear Lord, don't be in any anxiety." Why? Because in India, the Yavanas, those who are outside the Vedic culture, the Muslims were there. So they also have a concept of what's pure and what's impure. So that which is impure, like pigs, or keeping a dog inside your house, or alcohol, these things, these are forbidden things. So they're not halal, they are haram. Right? Haram. So, Srila Haridas Thakur said, you don't worry about them, because they always say haram. Haram! So, just like a pure devotee who's feeling separation from Lord Ram, he says, haram! So, in the same way, they're also uttering these syllables. And Srila Haridas Thakur gave the example of once, one Muslim, he was attacked by a wild boar. They're very dangerous, they can kill you. So as the wild boar was killing him, he was dying. Then, because in their religion, any type of pig is considered to be haram. So he was like, haram, haram, while he was being killed. And by the power of the holy name, he went to Vaikuntha. Srila Haridas Thakur, he said, just see Ajamil. He chanted the holy name at the last moment of his life. He wasn't even calling to God, he was calling his son. But he became liberated from all sins by this. So it does not even, the power of the holy name acts, whether or not a person has faith or understands or not. So then Srila Haridas Thakur, he quoted one verse, Naimanakam Nanaikam Yasyavachi Sparnapataha Sotramulam Gatamba Shuddham Vashdavana Rahitam Taryateva Satyam Tatschet Deha Dravina Janita Loba Pashan Damadye Nikshiktam Shan Napala Janakam Shibram Eva Pravipra. The meaning is that if someone just once will capture the name Krishna or Rama or Hari in his mind, or if the name will just go, someone else chants and it goes in the ear, then that person will be delivered. Shuddha Vasudhavana, they may pronounce the name purely or impurely, Vyavahita Rahitam, they may even utter the syllables, not even together, there may be some obstacle between them. For example, just like a person may say, Halam Riktam, so Ha and then Lam, Ri, Tam. So they said Ha and Ri, but Lam came in between. But even this is Nam Abhas. This Nam Abhas will give them liberation. If someone says Raja Mahishi, king and queen, Ra and then Jab, then Mahishi. So Jab came between Ra and Ma. So he'll also be delivered, only by Nam Abbas. So, and if a person is chanting deliberately, trying to get some material benefit for his material body, such a faithless, atheistic person, then that person, he will get the fruit of chanting Harinam eventually, but there'll just be a delay. There'll be a delay. It will come, the fruit will come after some time. So then, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, hearing this, he became very happy. He thought, yes, that's so nice. There are so many people everywhere, they're not devotees, they're sinful. But somehow or other, if they utter Nam Abbas, then they'll be liberated, all their sins will be destroyed. But what about the living entities who cannot chant? Like trees and plants and insects. They cannot chant the holy names. How will they be delivered from bondage? So then Srila Haridas Thakur said, oh, I have heard from your servant, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, that when you were going through the forest of Jharkhanda, at that time, you made even lions chant. Even snakes were chanting. Tigers were chanting. Deer were chanting. And not only that, but when you said, Hari! Then there was an echo. Hari, Hari, Hari. But it was not an echo. By your mercy, this was actually the kirtan of the trees. So even the non-moving living entities, by your mercy, in the form of echo, that's taken as the chanting. So you have delivered everyone. Then Mahaprabhu said, but Haridas, if every living entity in the universe will be delivered, then there will be no living entities in the universe. Then what will happen? So then Haridas said, oh my Lord, as long as you are situated in this universe, you will deliver everyone. And then, afterwards, the universe will fill up again with the Shukshma Jivas. Those Jivas, because when the universes are manifest, not all the universes are manifest. Some portion of Prakriti is manifest, and some portion of Prakriti is not manifest. And there are Jivas there. So when a universe is delivered, then an aspect which has not been manifest, then it becomes manifest. So those are Shukshma Jivas. So they become activated, and the entire universe again becomes full of living entities, and everything goes on. Srila Haridas Thakur gave an example. He said that when Lord Ramachandra came to this world, when he disappeared, he took all the inhabitants of Ayodhya with him. But then, Ayodhya became filled with living entities again. So in the same way, when Krishna comes to this universe, he delivers everyone, and then the universe becomes filled again. And so then Srila Haridas Thakur quoted a very beautiful verse. And this verse is spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. It's actually from the Rasa Leela. In the Rasa Leela, because Shukadeva Goswami is describing how some gopis they were held back by their family members. They couldn't go to the Rasa Leela. But then they were sadhaks, and they had some material portion to their body, but by their intense separation, that material portion was burnt away, and in a spiritual body they ran and they met with Sri Krishna. So Shukadeva Goswami said, oh, don't be amazed by this. Why? Na chaivam vishmaya karyo bhavata bhagavatya jay. Na Vishmaya, don't be astonished by Bhagavatya Jay, the Supreme Lord who is eternal and unborn. Why? Yogeshvara Shvare Krishna Yatha Etad Vimuchyate. Krishna is Yogeshvara Ishvara. There are mystic yogis. And then there are the best mystic yogis who have all mystic powers. They're Yogeshvara. But Krishna is Yogeshvareshvara. So Yogeshwareshware Krishna, that Krishna who is the master of all those who are the masters of mystic power and magic, all types of magic. Then Yata Etad Vimuchyate, he delivers everyone. So from this verse of Rasa Leela, it's understood also when Krishna came to this world and then he left, he emptied out the entire universe, and then became filled again. Then Mahaprabhu came, he emptied out the entire universe and it became filled again. And like this, in every day of Lord Brahma, these pastimes are going on. So, Srila Haridas Thakur said, my Lord, by descending in Navadvip Dham, just like Krishna, who delivered the whole universe, you have already delivered all the living entities. So my conclusion is this, that someone may say, I understand the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let them speak. As far as I am concerned, I don't know anything. This is my conclusion. So it's quite appropriate that Srila Haridas Thakur said this. Why? Because he's the incarnation of Lord Brahma. And when Lord Brahma prayed to Sri Krishna after becoming bewildered by his pastimes of manifesting as all the cows and calves, the Brahma Vimohan Lila, then at that time, Lord Brahma prayed to Sri Krishna, Jananta eva janantu kim bahukya name prabhu manaso vapuso vacho vaibhavam tava gochara. Oh my Lord, there are persons who say, I know Bhagavan, let them speak. I don't have much to say about this. All I know is, my Lord, your Vaibhav, your majesty, your opulence is beyond my body, beyond my words, and beyond my mind. So, if you study and you memorize the whole Chaitanya Bhagavat and the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, don't start thinking, well, yeah, now I know the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because they are unlimited. And beyond even the understanding of his great associates like Srila Haridas Thakur, though some secrets are revealed. Mahaprabhu tries to hide his glories, but because of the bhakti of Haridas Thakur, he saw through the deception. Because you remember, how did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approach him? Oh Haridas, I'm really worried. I'm so worried about all the living entities, what will happen to them? But Srila Haridas Thakur, because of his devotion, he could see through the deception. And the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came from the lips of Srila Haridas Thakur. So when Mahaprabhu heard this, he said to his other associates like Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, Sarvabhaumacharya, he said, oh, these are my very confidential pastimes. How could Haridas understand them? How did he know about this? So the answer is, Ulangita Trividasimha Samatishai Sambhavanam Tavagvarit Parima Subhavam Maya Balena Bhavitapi Niguyamanam Pasyanti Kechit Anisham Tadananya Bhavaha. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami quotes this verse. A devotee is praying, actually Yamuna Acharya is praying in the Stota Ratna. Oh my Lord, you are beyond the limitation of time. You are beyond the limitation of space. You are beyond the limitation of thoughts, even. And you hide yourself by your yoga maya. But, pasyanti kechidamisham tadananya bhava. Apna lukaite Krishna nanayatnakaye tatapita harabhakta deke janeta hare. The meaning is, even though Krishna, he makes so many efforts to hide himself, but still his devotees who have love for him, they find him. And they discover his secrets. So here also, Yamunacharya is saying that though you try to hide yourself by your mystic potency, but your devotees, because they have ananya bhav, they see you, they find you, and they discover your secrets also, whatever you try to hide from them. So, this is very beautiful news. Boro suker kaugai, boro suker kaugai, Surabi kunjeti nam hat koleche kodnitai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared in his Prakash form Nityananda Prabhu, and he's opened the marketplace of the holy name. Boro suker, I have very happy news for everyone. And why is that? Because actually there's a term for this in Greek, in theological term. Apokatastasis. Apokatastasis means the great restoration, that every fallen, contaminated, conditioned soul who is averse to God, everyone will be delivered. Actually, in the early days of Christianity, some monks, they had this philosophy, apokatastasis, but it was turned into a blasphemy, an aposiddhanta. It was rejected because they had such an idea that, one day everyone will get the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Even Satan himself is not beyond redemption. He can also surrender and get the mercy. But it was made an anathema. It was anathemized. But actually, this apokatastasis, this good news of the great restoration, the complete redemption of every living entity, this is our Gaudiya Siddhanta. But when will it happen? It may happen later, it may happen sooner. And so for us now, Mahaprabhu's pastimes have gone on, it can happen. It may happen after a long time for us. But better to happen sooner. So the sooner we surrender and take shelter of the holy name, we can receive the gift of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is not only deliverance, but the praying that was never given at any time before. So, in this way, we have discussed the external secondary reason. And in the evening, we'll discuss the secondary internal reason, and maybe we'll go on to the next one within tonight and the next day. We'll try to go into some detail of all the aspects of the causes for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Satyananda Gauri Ki Jai!